If I were to ask a group of One Piece fans who they believe, apart from the Straw Hats, are the most interesting or the most intriguing characters in the world or in the One Piece world there would be many names thrown around like Monkey D. Garp, Monkey D. Dragon, or maybe Katakuri, or the obvious ones, Goldie Roger or Whitebeard. And this, I say, I do agree. But there is one character who is underrated in terms of his comedic ability and his versatility, apart from the Straw Hats, and his ability to connect the story through one of its main genres, comedy. And this character that I've been so intrigued about for such a long time is Buggy the Clown. Now, I know a lot of people out there wouldn't see Buggy the Clown as the most developed, or the most, obviously not the most developed. They wouldn't see him with any sort of intrigue or fascination, because all he does is wear a clown-like red nose with hair like blue tassels and acting as a semi-antagonist of the story. However, after putting a fair bit of thought into it, I've come to understand Oda really likes Buggy, and he makes use of him in the most particular and fascinating and unique way within the story. And this will be the basis of what I'll be talking about today. That is why Buggy is Oda Chi's go-to weapon or trump card. So first, let's start off with who Buggy is and what his role is in the story. Or at least what I think his role is in the story. If you were to sum up Buggy's overall role or meaning the story, you would say it would be either comedy or comedic relief. Because his entire meaning and purpose is revolved around making viewers and readers laugh, or just cry out of laughter. Either way, the purpose is still the same. Buggy's main drive and main goal throughout the story is to find treasure. He's a classic pirate, except he just doesn't have the disposition in terms of the way he behaves. It is a combination of what you would believe to be classic pirate, but also in the body of a clown, basically. As every pirate's dream should be, Buggy's main drive and goal is to locate treasure. That is, physical treasure. Gold, silver, jewels, diamonds, that sort of stuff. Which, if you've been watching One Piece for long enough, you would understand that is not the main treasure, and that's clearly not going to be the treasure that Luffy's going to find when he finds the One Piece. But nevertheless, that's how Buggy operates. The interesting thing about Buggy's role is that it's been brought into the progression of the story, where he's been linked with Shanks, with Roger, with the entirety of the Roger Pirates, and his link with what we would see as the journey to the One Piece. Just like Shanks, he joined the Roger Pirates at a very young age. The experiences he had, the people that he met, and the story that he holds in his own mind is something that is somewhat crucial to the Straw Hats, yet they don't even want to know where or what he's doing. But that's what makes it so intriguing to us. All things considered, when it comes to past, his history, and his overall character and personality, we can come to see his value that Oda sees in him, and the role that he plays in the entire story, as Oda's go-to weapon of choice. When you look at the physical features and aesthetics of this character, you come to see the classic role that he plays as a comedic instrument for Oda to really flesh out what One Piece is about. That is without using the Straw Hats as his instruments. The massive red nose that is also considered real, according to Oda, and his long hair that we at some point saw as a part of the tassels that he wears along with his marine hat. Along with the lipstick and everything, he resembles that of the ideal clown. And you know a character is comedic relief material when he's able to break the fourth wall, which Buggy has done in occasions throughout the story. Every single detail when it comes to his aesthetic features and his funny quirks, even his devil fruit acts as a method of explaining just how much worth he has as a mode of comedic relief, as it allows for his mastery of deception, which of course is Buggy's speciality. A devil fruit that has the capability to counter all swordsmen, every single swordsman in the One Piece world, instead bestowed upon the Joker. of the One Piece world. Buggy's tendency to lash out on people who make fun of his aesthetic qualities, which is contradictory because it seems like he's maintaining all these features. To take it a step further, we can look at Buggy's prevalence in the main storyline. When it comes to how prevalent Buggy has been through the 20 years that One Piece has been running, he's been in many arcs since he was introduced in Orange Town, through Log Town, through Marineford, Impel Down, or even Odin's flashback when we explored the revelation of Raftel, the discovery of One Piece, and the declaration of the Warlords, and the abolishment of the Warlord system, which was given a classic Buggy comedic line. Somehow finds his way to the main storyline with his incredible yet disastrous luck. It can be agreed upon, or it can be generally agreed upon by most of the One Piece community, that Marineford is, up until the time of this recording, the best One Piece arc that was ever created. And the mastery of such an arc was its ability to maintain the story whilst also introducing opportunities for comedic relief, whilst also pulling through the story and not dragging it along, but creating opportunities to progress the story itself into what we see it as today. Oda combined so many ideas and themes and was also able to incorporate comedic effect and very clearly through this character. And I don't think this trend is going to end. I think, in my mind, during the Great War and even when finding the One Piece in Raftel, even though Buggy has no interest in finding the One Piece, in my mind, Oda's going to find some way to introduce him into those two major arcs of One Piece and make it as amazing or even more amazing than Marineford was. The rate that everything's going, Buggy for Yonko. He's going along the same trend as Blackbeard. Another interesting aspect of Buggy is his character growth and his overall growth throughout the story. Initially, he was considered a scummy pirate. He was very sensitive about his aesthetic features, but after being defeated by Luffy and through the progression of the story, we came to see Buggy as quite an interesting character that became very popular amongst One Piece fans. He grew from more than just a minor antagonist in the story towards a more complex but still comedic clown character. And we can see this change very clearly in arcs like Impel Down or Marineford, where we see him actually tagging along with Luffy and helping him, even though it's for his own sake, even though he was just trying to do everything for the sake of his own survival. He was able, or in his own way, in his own comedic way, he was able to help others and display his ability to grow as a character. And this might not be a very popular, I would consider this to be an extremely unpopular opinion, but I still do consider it a thing. That is, Buggy is very similar to Luffy, and he has a certain characteristic that is not as strongly explored as it is explored for Luffy, but Buggy has this ability to draw people towards him, and although this connection that other people have gained, this ability that he has to draw other people towards him is misleading, it is still an element that is used by Oda to push forward Buggy's character and almost open him up to us as one of the more interesting and intriguing comedic relief characters throughout the story. In some ways, he acts almost as the antithesis to Luffy's overall dream and goal. Luffy wants to become the Pirate King for freedom, whereas Buggy wants to achieve fame and for money. And in a similar way, they also have parallels in that they both have this ability to draw people towards them to help them, regardless of whether it's misled or not. All things considered when it comes to his character, his role, his history, his aesthetic features, his quirks, and his prevalence throughout the story and overall growth through the progression of the story kind of examines and kind of dissects his role and his importance in the story as expressed by Oda. It's not a coincidence that he's been given so many roles and opportunities for growth throughout the story. He could easily have thrown him away at the start, but he keeps constantly using him as a vessel to make us laugh. I think is the most interesting thing about him, and I will see always, and I will admire about Buggy as a character.